In her first week as the newly elected Prime Minister, Julia Gillard has attended 2 funerals for soldiers killed in Afghanistan. As the conflict intensifies, 1,400 soldiers from Darwin's Robertson Barracks are in the process of being deployed to the war zone. In the midst of those preparations, I caught up with the man in charge of the soldiers, Brigadier Gus McLachlan. Brigadier Gus McLachlan, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
We've got more troops heading over to Afghanistan. What kind of situation are they heading into? Is it increasingly dangerous?
It's getting more dangerous in the sense that we are doing more. The Australian Army has expanded its area of influence around Tarin Kowt where we're operating. We've recently taken responsibility for an additional battalion in the Afghan National Army 4th Brigade, who we're training to one day replace us as the security force.
What is it that you tell troops before they're going about the risks that they're going to encounter?
I've had some really interesting conversations with the young people as I move around and watch their training. I spoke to a young man the other night who's going to be an engineer searcher, so that's the young person who has to go out in front of our Bushmaster vehicles, for example, and search for improvised explosive devices. And, it was very real to him. He said to me, "Cyril, I just hope I don't, miss something." And, all you can say to them is, look, you're really well trained, trust your training, do your best in the team, and that's all that people ask of you. We think we are very honest and open with them. The training that we've designed is designed to expose them to the reality of the scenario that they're going to face. And by that I mean, we've got cultural role players, for example. We've got a bunch of Afghans from the Afghan communities in Sydney and Melbourne have come up to help us. They role play tribal elders and village elders. They role play members of the Afghan National Army, and that gets the shock of dealing with these different cultures out into the open and lets our young people deal with them. Our medical training is realistic and first class, and so again, what we want is their worst day that is going to happen to them in the next 8 months actually happens here. They've seen the shock, the noise, the dust, the blood, and they're ready to go. And so we've been honest with them, and I think they're really well trained. They know they're well led, and that's really all we can do.
The Dutch have pulled out as of last month. They reported to have very good relationships with locals on the ground. What's it going to be like for your troops now working closely with American soldiers?
The Dutch were a great partner, and they were very good at what I would call the reconstruction, the provisional reconstruction teams. The Dutch had a good rapport with the locals, and they were a great partner, and we missed them. I think it's up to us, though, to actually learn a bit from what the Dutch did in the way they interacted with the population. We'll try and take the best of the Dutch approach, marry that up with ours and the American approach to come up with the best package that we can.
Former Australian Army Colonel David Kilcullen says Australian troops are accompanying Afghan troops more and more on live combat operations, and that's putting them more at risk. Is that something that you're seeing?
Yeah, I know David well, and he's a very astute observer, and what he said is accurate. I mean, we are out there on the ground with the 4th Afghan National Army Brigade. That's the way to train and mentor them. Over time, we will be able to step back, from that role as they gain in